Now there's a transition. The last two phrases of the surah. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. And I'm simply translating those for now. They counseled one another to the truth, and they counseled one another to patience. That's the final phrasing, those two mini phrases in this ayah. The first thing I'd like for all of us to acknowledge is the transition that's happened here. What's happened is, somebody believes. Where is their belief? In their heart. If they are on an island by themselves, can they do good deeds? Sure. They can pray, they can eat halal, they can be grateful, and they can do those things, and they can still do good deeds. What I'm saying is, to a great extent, faith and good deeds are individual concerns. They're up to me. And they reform myself. Yes, Allah mentioned them in the plural, that it strengthens together. That's implied. But essentially, at the end of the day, my faith is mine and yours is yours. My deed is lana a'maluna wa lakum a'malukum. We have our deeds, you have yours. I can only be responsible for what I do. Now, there's a switch in these two phrases from something that never be done individually. Like Iman, you can have individually. Amal salih, good deeds, you can have individually. You don't need anybody else to do something good. You can do it on your own. But وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ is actually necessarily involving other people. You can't do it alone. There's no such thing. The word tawasi comes from tafa'ul, and tafa'ul in the Arabic language, that family, that pattern of the Arabic language suggests more than one party cooperating with each other. Half of this ayah is about you working with others to do something. What we're learning that is Allah says all humanity is in trouble. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. All humanity is drowning in loss. And the only way to save yourself is not just, at least I'm good, and at least I do some good things. You can't just stop there, because that would have been إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. And that's it. But he says إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, which is for yourself. Then he says وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, which is for others. Which means unless you have a concern for others, you and I aren't even saving ourselves. Listen to that again. We're still in loss if we're only concerned with ourselves and we are unconcerned with others. If that doesn't bother us, then we still haven't saved ourselves. He made that a condition. That's a very powerful reality. Bint Shati mentions this and says, وَوَاضِحٌ هُنَا أَنَّ عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ مَسْئُولِيَّتَهُ فَرْضًا بِالْإِيمَانِ وَعَمَلِ الصَّالِحَاتِ وَمَسْئُولِيَّتَهُ عَنِ الْجَمَاعَةِ بِالتَّوَاصِي بِالْحَقِّ وَالتَّوَاصِي بِالصَّبْرِ. She says it's abundantly clear that a human being is responsible individually towards faith and good deeds, and collectively towards counseling one another. That's what the phrase says, counseling one another to the truth. You can't say one another if there's not more than one person involved. And counseling one another towards patience. That can't be the case unless there's a collectivity. So it's like the Qur'an wants part of my attention on myself and part of my attention on others. But notice, if somebody was always doing Islamic activities like dawah programs or MSA programs or putting a convention together or handing out pamphlets, all of their focus is towards themselves or others. When their focus is always towards others, you can start becoming less and less spiritually strong because your concern is always others and never yourself. And then somebody takes the other extreme and says, I don't want to worry about anybody else. My own iman is so weak. I'm just going to pray. I'm just going to recite Qur'an. I'm just going to do dhikr. I'm just going to memorize. I'm just going to do, umrah and multiple hajj or whatever. But I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff because I just want to save myself. Some people become people of concern for others, and the opposite extreme, they only become concerned for themselves. What does the surah do? Half of it for you, half of it for others, and they're inseparable. They're inseparable. But the problem is, even if you say theoretically they're inseparable, it's not really possible to keep a perfect balance. You're going to lean more this way or that way. How do you make sure, for example, if you're doing a lot of talking and speaking and teaching and da'wah and towards others, how are you supposed to maintain spiritual balance yourself? How do you do that? The beauty of this surah is it actually has the answer within it. Allah didn't just say iman and a'mal salihah are for yourself and tawasi bil haqq and tawasi bil sabr are for others. Actually, by using the word tawasaw, he basically said even when you're pointing towards others, you're opening the door always for them to point to you. You find yourself in company who can benefit from you, and you can constantly benefit from them. And when you maintain that, then all four stay in place. They become a source for your iman also. They become a source for your a'mal salihah also. That balance is maintained. And so I want to share with you finally, something that was a young man. He took my podcast from Surah Al-Asr so many years ago. And part of it, I was illustrating the imagery of Surah Al-Asr, and he turned it into this animated thing, about Surah Al-Asr. But I want to walk you through that imagery one more time. But I think it's important to really tie everything together at the end. So you're to imagine yourself drowning and unconscious. You don't know, you're passed out. That means you don't have a lot of time left. If you don't wake up, then you're done. The first requirement you must fulfill in order to have any chance of survival is that you need to wake up, isn't it? The surah is saying you are drowning in loss. The surah begins with the oath you're running out of time, right? And the first condition it says you have to save yourself is what? To believe. And believing is like seeing reality for what it actually is. To wake up. Actually, Allah did not say believe in Allah, the messengers, the books, whatever. And all of that's true. But in the context of the surah, you must first believe that you don't have a lot of time left and that you are in fact in loss. If you don't believe that, you're not going to feel any sense of urgency. Okay, now the scenario is Iman is there, meaning you actually wake up and you don't think that this is a nightmare. You realize this is actually happening. I'm actually drowning. Oh God, how long have I been down here? I don't have many breaths left. I need to do something. I need to literally do something. What's the Arabic word for doing? Amal. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Now, what do I have to do? There's two things I can do. I don't know how to swim, so I'm going to do the chicken dance or whatever it is that I do to start making movements. Either I'm heading towards the surface with my movements or I'm heading down, and I need to realize I need to make the kinds of movements that are heading me upward. Now you realize some deeds are taking me down and some actions are taking me up. I'm going to start focusing my energy on the efforts that take me up. And by the way, this is there to save who? This is there to save yourself. You're fixing yourself. You're trying to save yourself from drowning. So you start moving upwards. You only made a little bit of progress and you notice that your foot is stuck to your cousin who's sleeping like you were. You're trying to go up, but you can't because his weight is tied to you. What do you got to do to save yourself? You got to wake him up. And he pushes your arm away and says, leave me alone. You can find suit yourself. I never liked you anyway. I like my mother's side cousins better. No. If you give up on him, who have you given up on? Yourself. You got to keep going at it, bro. Wake up, wake up. And he's dreaming and he's got this great dream where he's driving a Ferrari and he's having a good old time. He's one of those car commercials and, he's happy. And every time you wake him up, he sees the nightmare of the drowning and he says, I want to go back to sleep. Put me back in the Matrix. He doesn't want to listen to you, but you don't have a choice. You do everything you can to wake this person up. And as they wake up and realize the seriousness of reality, now there's two of you swimming upwards, which means as, your efforts to wake him up exhausted you. And he just freshly woke up. So as he's going up and you're getting tired, what's he doing? He's pulling you up and then he realizes he's chained to his cousin or his uncle. Now the two of you get together and wake the uncle up. And as you're waking him up, your efforts are better because now there's how many? Two of you. And the three of you now go up. And this is going to require none of you can give up. And by the way, not giving up and persevering is sabr. As any one of you says, I'm running out of breath. I can't do this anymore. Yes, you can. You can. We all can. We're going to need to. We're going to have to. We don't have a choice. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. And this, pulling ourselves out of loss, that's the sequence of Surah Al-Asr. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. That's supposed to be the struggle of our entire life. If we don't see the sense of urgency of that struggle, we don't identify within our life where we are lacking, we can come conveniently. You can listen to all of this. I can listen to all of this. We can conveniently go back to sleep. And it's a pretty good dream. Things are fine. This is like the statement of Ali radiallahu anhu, "An-nasu niyam." People are asleep. It's judgment day when they wake up. Literally what Qur'an describes, "Man ba'athana min marqadina." Who woke us up from our sleep? Who woke us up from our sleep? This is just a play. The reality check is very, very harsh. It's very hard. But this is the road Allah has given us. And you and I have to identify in our life who it is that is going to be our support, who it is that we need to give counsel of truth to, who it is that, and who are we, and how willing are we to receive counsel of truth ourselves. We're going to have to become honest with ourselves, open with ourselves. I can't do that for you and you can't do that for me. That's a personal exercise. But may Allah Azza wa Jal give us the ability to live up to the profound teachings of Surah Al-Asr